How does the city encourage additional support for new single-family housing developments? Or should the city even be involved?
This one, I think that the city has done a good job of supporting the current single-family housing. There's been a lot of growth. If you go out onto the city's website, it shows the amount of houses that have been added every year. And I think they're down a little bit the last 2 years, but overall they've been pretty steady. There has been a lot of growth. It's obvious. There's a lot of nice facilities down by Central. Up in my district, the Northeast District, there's growth right on the very edge of town. It's growing. I think the city, whatever they need to do to help individuals and private investors with that, if it's just information, that's great. The city shouldn't have to be taking it upon themselves though to do that. That's why we have private investors. If there's anything they can do to help, that's great, but otherwise they should be keeping out of it. Thank you.
I'm somebody that's into or in support of limited government, but on this issue, I think that for the citizens of Aberdeen, we could probably do a little bit better by having a task force, if you will, of being able to inspect apartments not only for the renter but also for the landlord. I mean, it's a quality of life issue, and I think that's something that we need to look into moving forward, so that way we can make sure that everybody has a safe place to live that's, you know, a quality of life issue.
I'm going to read this question again because I really didn't get it. How does the city encourage additional support for new single-family housing development? Should the city be involved? I think the city is involved. We have Aberdeen Housing Authority, and Jody goes out and finds grants to build affordable housing, safe affordable housing. And when the last time Aberdeen Housing went to achieve a grant for affordable housing for 55 and older was the age. That came out in the paper, and my phone blew up with all of the private companies out there that have housing. You know, they don't get help from the city, but maybe they should. I don't know. I mean, I've never heard this question before. So, but they didn't want Aberdeen Housing to have more of an advantage than them, because there's a lot of property owners out there that rent to low income, and they don't have the benefit of grant money from South Dakota Housing. And so they were upset, and I took the other side on this, and I took their side, because there again, it's the people speaking, and we need to listen to the people. So that's all I have to say about that.
Well, housing is definitely an issue we face in Aberdeen. Just tried to go buy a house once, get out of Aberdeen, and the prices dropped dramatically. So we know we need more housing. But I would step back to what is our city government here for? Why was city government created? It was created to protect the people, provide roads, and provide utilities. Beyond that, that's what we were created for. And so, as far as helping develop, well, we need to be able to provide roads, utilities. Other than that, I don't think it's really the city's position to be involved in building houses.
Housing is an issue, I think, in our Aberdeen Housing Authority to get more living space in this community, which is needed as we continue to grow. The main issue that we face right now is that the city has reacted to this. We have not taken a lead on it or worked with developers to look at areas where we can develop new properties around the edges of our community that we can do homes. We're actually running out of land that has utilities to it. Caleb is right, you know, we do have the responsibility to provide utilities to homes and all that others, and apartments and businesses. And I think we as a city are gonna have to start working with developers, or listening to developers to see what areas we can use for growth and work on some way of getting the utilities out there. We do right now tax increment financing for the road, sewer, water, curb and gutter. With this, we actually get a better road. We increase our road standards with this, where we don't have to go and fix the road, and we can then bid it out where you get a better price. But there's still more that needs to be done for us as a city to move utilities to areas where we can see growth. And we're working on that now, putting in utilities to help out. Open up areas for future growth, future business and residential development.
What's appealing to that is they have a brand new worry-free house. That's what draws people to a community. So I think we need to work, you know, as a city with these contractors and give them that area to grow and develop our city, to draw, like much was mentioned, this younger crowd of people, you know, that, you know, make a city, you know, thrive and grow. Like I said, I'm on a fine line of what the city should be involved in, but we have to encourage that growth within our town. Like I said, to prosper and just have that growth of the city. I said we have new businesses coming in. We want to draw these single families into Aberdeen. That's how this town will grow. So I'm really on a fine line about what the city, but we have to encourage that growth. And by doing that, that's providing utilities and roads. We all know there's shortages of, you know, the capacity for water and everything like that, but we have to look at that. I mean, this is something that demand. If we want to grow and have these jobs available to these new families, well, that's where the city has to get involved and kind of push that, you know, to developers to be able to have that capacity to build houses.
Well, this is the industry I've been in for 17 years. And when I started way back, it was really, really, really tight housing. And thanks to the vision of the Mr. Fobergs and the Mr. Grebners and the rest of the people there on the board for Happy Homes, which is the development company, the nonprofit development company that has put up most of our new developable lots in the last 17 years or less, we wouldn't have some of those newer homes going up those. But there's limitations to what Happy can do because a number of those lots have to be limited income homes or available to people with limited income. There are some market available lots. I have been in discussion for many years now with some developers who have taken on the private risk of going for market rate developments. Larry Hansen, he's worked as a real estate agent selling lots in some of those developments. The barrier to entry for a developer now, the cost of entry coming in, is extreme. Now, we have a lot of good developers that know that they'll just take on the risk of putting in development, and they may or may not make any money on it. We've got a few of them around that have taken longer to fill than I think the developers wished. So it's kind of a property tax issue, and we might need to combine not only the city, but the county in working with the developers, the real estate agents, Happy, all of the other organizations together to formulate plans. I don't think anybody up here has that skill set by themselves to come up with one answer that's going to be the magic bullet. Other things that we need to consider, though, we are at the literal end of our sewer line. So like Clint was saying, we do have to extend some of our services to help get to those developable lands. But don't forget, not every piece of dirt you see is developable, because a lot of land surrounding our community is in floodplain. We've built levees that have permanently placed hundreds and hundreds of acres adjacent to our community directly in a floodplain. So just because it looks flat doesn't mean you can put a house there. It can be very expensive to do so. Plus we have lots of sloughs, which makes it very difficult for handling soil qualities. But we're finding that in the Huff Edition down there. There's a lot of soil qualities, a lot of road problems. One of the Happy divisions, a lot of soil problems, a lot of road condition problems. So finding the right area is difficult. Making sure that it's ready for development is difficult. Making sure that you can afford to do it is difficult. So it really has to be here is a collaboration and a coalition of the people that are directly affected in the industry. And it does need to happen now, because we do not need to get back to a point in time like we were in the late 90s and early 2000s, where we didn't have places for people to build and we were drastically short houses. I think you're right in the single-family homes. I think we're really tight in certain dollar amounts. That's very obvious. Multiple family housing, we have a little bit of leeway there right now, but if we don't react now, if we don't plan for the future, we're going to get into a real world of hurt. Our growth has become what it is today in Aberdeen because we finally got to a point where we had a little softness in the market and we could get people into houses. So very important for us to go forward properly.
Well, there's a couple things we can agree on. I'm terrible at public speaking. But I think we're all in agreement. You know, we're all here to help everyone, and that's our job. But a lot of us too are about limited government. So there's a fine line, but we're here to help. So if there is any possible way that we can help everyone grow, whether it may be stepping over the line or not, but it's just avenues that we got to take and look and, you know, figure out what's the best decision. That's why we're up here. And talking to the community, obviously these questions are very important. Someone came up with it, and we're going to have to look into it. So, thank you.
Yeah, the question was for single-family homes. I think the city does support that, like Clint said, with our tips.
I've never been accused of having a quiet voice, but anyway, the city does support single-family growth. Of course we do, through the TIP program, as Cliff explained, but just to explain how that works, you know, a developer finds land and they have to develop all the infrastructure, all the water, sewer, streets, curbs, and then once that property is developed, then the city takes it over and maintains it for the rest of its life. And so what can we do to help, you know, promote those things? Of course, our engineers help with that. Our planning and zoning department helps with that. Certainly the council supports growth of single-family homes. We want to encourage our neighbors and friends in other communities to move to Aberdeen, to retire or to come and work. So certainly Aberdeen City Council does support